I heard an analogy one time. There was a greenhouse in town, at the edge of a town, glass greenhouse with those little pieces of glass. It was there for years. And there was a couple pieces of glass broken. And then a person that knew this verse said, I'm going to prove something. I'm going to prove that law actually, if you make a law, it actually makes people want to break the law. So he put up a sign and he said, do not throw rocks at the greenhouse. A week or two he won't walk by and it was all in shatters. It actually reminded them to sin. That's how the sinful human nature works. The law, when you make a rule and now a person that has a sinful human nature actually is curious, what would happen if I broke the rule? It makes us curious. That's just the way we're wired. We become curious. Like, there's a rule. I wonder what the consequence would be if I didn't keep it. Let's find out. That's the sinful human nature. So the question is it the law? Is the law the problem, or is it our sinful human nature that's a problem? A little later in the book of Romans, it tells us what the problem is. Yeah.
I like the Living Bible translation in that verse. Is when your old nature was still active, sinful desires were at work within you, making you want to do whatever God said not to, and producing sinful deeds.
That's exactly what it's saying.
The rotting fruit of death.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I like this translation sometimes because it's very plain.
Literal, yeah.
Literal.
Yeah, law makes us, I mean, if you have children, you know, you've probably experienced that. You make a rule, actually makes them curious, like, well, you shouldn't listen to that. And they're like, well, why not? Let me find out why not. That's just how we're wired that way. All right, Alan.
Yeah, I think we also get that from Adam and Eve. Basically, they only had one law that they weren't supposed to. Like, basically, in the Garden of Eden, God just told them, you can do anything but one thing.
That's the perfect example.
And then they wanted to do that one thing that they can't do.
That's right. And they're like, I wonder what would happen if we did it. That's just human nature.
I remember, I think there was this Amish church that used to tell this story of that this family took this little box and put something inside of it and warned their children to never open that. And then one day when they weren't home, they went and opened it, and then it was that verse about, in the Garden of Eden. You wanted to do that one thing that I told you not to do. It just proves the point that it makes you curious. Like, what would happen if I would do it?
So my mom told me the story one time when she was a little 4 years old or something. They were picking strawberries, and they had all the strawberries. They brought them onto the porch, and her father, wanting to test her to see whether she would listen to him, she said, "Don't eat any." He told her, "Don't eat any of the strawberries." Well, that was a reminder, and then he goes to the workshop and he watches, and she eats a strawberry because he told her not to. Isn't that crazy? And he comes back, and there were consequences. He was just giving her a simple test. Don't eat a strawberry. And that reminded her, maybe I should. So what should we do? Hey, welcome. Thank you. Come on in. Get a seat. Find yourself a seat. So it begs the question, should we get rid of the law? Maybe if we get rid of the law, that problem would be solved. Does the law produce human nature, or does it just reveal human nature like that, or does it just reveal human nature? What do you think? It reveals human nature.
Yeah. And also, if you get rid of the law, the land will turn into the second Sodom, basically. Well, and we are seeing that today. The most Christian churches have abolished the law. They say the law no longer exists, and the world has turned into Sodom and Gomorrah, basically.
And most Christians don't believe that, even though they say it. They don't believe it because they know there's morals. Everybody has. If you're a Christian, you have morals. If you don't accept God's standard, you produce your own. You have your own standard. Everybody believes in some standard for right and wrong, because we inherently know that there's a right and wrong. That certain things are just not right, and so we're inclined to make statements that throws it all out so that we can just bring in what we want. which is what the world does. The world does exactly the same thing. Like, we have the standards that we want, and we reject the standards we don't like. That's human nature. So the problem is not with the law. The problem is with human nature. The law makes human nature come out, makes something come out.